B-boy news, and us breakers are in lockdown, which means we have a lot of time on our hands, and let's be honest, this is when breakers get the most creative, when we have a lot of free time and we just do crazy stuff. Of course, this has meant that we've had to contend with cats, dogs, babies, and a whole lot of other hazards. And if you live in a tiny apartment like me, like this is literally all the space I have, let's just put it this way, you're going to get very, very good at rocking. So how are b-boys adapting to being stuck indoors during the coronavirus? Pretty interesting, I'd say. One of the great things about the community is that, you know, through Instagram, through YouTube, we're actually quite in touch with each other. Like, the first of these was the freeze stack challenge, with Dizzy doing freezes while his child complete trashes his apartment. Watch out for kids when you're stacking freezers. A certain member of our crew, who will remain nameless, has taken out a child doing a freeze stack in a battle. We're not saying who, we're not saying who. Now, the next one was the Red Bull Hat Challenge, which featured like some of the best in the world dancing with a hat. For a lot of them, it just meant they did their regular stuff but had a hat in their hand. But some people got kind of creative, like this one that I really like. Then, have b-boys at home been doing your 20 seconds hand washing as recommended by the WHO? Of course, there's the usual boring way of doing all this, but please do keep your hands safe because, let's be honest, our hands go right on the floor, and so, you know, if anyone's going to get dirty hands and get corona that way, it's honestly going to be us b-boys. However, of course, something simple as hand washing, there's no way dancers get creative with that. Wrong. As dancers have released versions with finger tutting, and getting down to this bizarre coronavirus-inspired rap song. Yeah, hashtag Corona Dance Challenge or Corona B-Boy B-Girl Challenge if you want to join in. So just recently we lost two of the funkiest people that ever lived, so RIP to both of them. I'm talking of course about Manu Dibango and the one and only Don Campbell. If you're wondering who these guys are, Manu is remembered by most of us b-boys as creating one of the greatest breaking jams ever. There's a small snippet of it, just to remind you which one it is. If you don't recognise this song, congratulations on never having been to a jam ever. Because this is one of the most recognisable b-boy tunes, and this break is just a fantastic b-boy track. So, b-boy is my true love, but just every now and then I like to drunk dial locking and, you know, get down with her for a little bit. You know, I still love b-boying, but you know, guy's got to have his options open. So most of you know that Don Campbell actually created like virtually the entire locking arsenal of moves. Pretty much between him and the other members of the original Lockers, all those moves were created by them. Fans in America can remember his legacy by heading down to Crenshaw Boulevard and Stoker Street, which has been renamed Don Campbell Lock Campbell Square. That's b-boy news, and suffice to say this wasn't the episode that I was planning on uploading. Yeah, it's been a pretty crazy month. Really, shout out to all the b-boys getting down in their apartments and houses, you know, just trying to make the best of a bad situation. And shout out to all the funky b-girls who've just been inspiring during this whole thing, like really showing how much of a community the b-girls have, uploading all these videos and showing them getting down in all sorts of places. I mean, there's videos of b-girls getting down in lofts, houses, parks, you name it. So keep the vibe alive, and one love to all the b-boys and b-girls. Hopefully next time we see you, this lockdown thing will have been over and we can get back down to some serious breaking. Here's hoping that the jams in May are not cancelled, and hopefully we can reboot this scene because, you know, it's one love, guys, and I hope you're all staying safe. This is Flo Angel signing out. Peace. Now, let's talk Full Throttle. A lot of you know that a lot of the stuff that actually happened at the jam wasn't on the camera. This is always the way. A few things that I wish I'd got on the camera was, one is that Ills, when he starts off his battle, he comes out in this sequined suit. It was like glittering and shining. Naturally, of course, it didn't last very long because those things are hot as hell. He literally took it off after like the first 2 seconds of being in the ring. However, I really wish I got a photo of him with it. It's just one of those things that the jam went on for mad long. It was like 10 o'clock at night by the time that bad boy finished. And unfortunately, by that time, everyone was just tired and wanting to get home to dinner. And unfortunately, I completely forgot to actually ask to get a photo of that. So, Ills, shout out for the shiny shoot. Then, the other one is, of course, Issei. Now, I hope you've all seen Foundation versus Flores, because easily the battle of the night, like not even close. and that legendary set by Issei. Now, there, it was a really, really interesting one because there's basically two schools of battling judges. Some people think it should be judged round for round, so this guy does a round, this guy replies, this guy does a round, this guy replies, and whoever wins the most rounds wins. Now, there is another style of battling which comes a little bit from the old school, which is where you try and knock the other guy out. So the idea is that this guy starts off easy, then this guy ups it, this guy ups what that guy did, and then the final guy has to come in and up everything and like leave the battle on a high note. So, if you judge by the first criteria, I actually think it's fair to take it into overtime. Because I honestly gave 2 rounds each. I thought it was pretty fair. There is the other argument that Issei was the only guy who completely, clearly won his round. Like, he absolutely blew his opponent out of the water. And that didn't happen any other round. So, you know, using boxing terminology, all the others were 10-9, 10-9, 10. But that round was a 10-8 or maybe even a 10-7. In which case, you know, by boxing rules, Issei's team would win. So there is that way of thinking as well. Also, I just remember, like, at the end, you should have seen Issei, because Issei was 100% convinced he'd won. Like, even before the judges gave their verdict, he was celebrating. I think he knew that something special had just gone down. He was as surprised as a lot of his circle were that it went into overtime. And then, bizarrely, Issei, I'm guessing he was really hyped from doing that big set, because bizarrely he goes out first. And I remember being there live, and I'm like, why is Issei going out first? Because you've clearly used up a lot of energy, a lot of creativity, a lot of spirit to make a set like that. Like, in order to bust that out, you know, you've got to really put your whole self into it. And then for some reason he thinks, I'm going to go out right after that. And that just seemed a really strange choice to me. I'm guessing he felt that he was hype and that he could deliver, but yeah, it didn't really work out for him. Like, he had a bit of a sloppy round, and I think if it thought through his tactics a bit better, I think they probably could have won that overtime. But I knew they were going to lose because Issei just had this look like he was already lost, even before the overtime was there. I tried to get it on camera, but it really doesn't translate. You've got to really have seen it live. The other big surprise was the Hema. Yeah, I'm not sure how you pronounce that. As a lot of you know, I thought that I was pretty familiar with all the Korean crews. And I've come across the Hema before, like in clips and things like that. But to actually see them live, that was absolutely amazing. And had to have 3 of their members in the top 16 is an amazing result. Then another one is that there was the Group of Death, which again, if you haven't seen, link up here. The Group of Death was absolutely insane. A lot of people don't know that Supernaturals or B-Boy Suki were in the Group of Death, but on the other side. And that should just tell you how strong the group actually was, because all these super big names are going out. Otherwise, the only other thing that's worth mentioning is a lot of people point out that there was a crash from Phil Wizard and B-Boy Ills in the final battle, Full Throttle. If you actually have a look, a lot of the judges actually don't spot it. It's only because my camera was literally in the exact right place. Like, I've seen other footage of the jam, and it's even that crash is not all that clear on the other footage. It's just one of those things that, like, my camera caught it perfectly. Whereas I think maybe the judges didn't catch that one.